What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and you're watching another episode of Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. Since last time, as I said I would do, I have obtained all the upgrades for each character's equipment, and we're sitting at level 5. Well, both sitting at level 6. Now, I don't really recall, honestly, how we're supposed to know where we're supposed to go. I'm assuming there's someone in hometown who tells us where to look for Suzy, and I think I just accidentally attacked myself. That's unfortunate. You can't really... You have to be a little bit careful about quick inputs here, because... I guess it was more just getting used to it again, but if you press left and right, you switch between... whether you're targeting yourself or enemies. So, that can be kind of problematic. But anyways, what was I saying? I don't really recall how you're supposed to know where to look for Suzy, but I've done this so many times I just kind of do it instinctually now. You have to come here to Mount Fuji. Or Fuji. No, it is Fuji. Okay. So, heal up Ryu a little bit. Because, when we come up here... I guess it's not quite yet, but anyways. We come into this cave. Now, there's a healing well here, so I guess I didn't need to heal up. Does that restore MP as well? It does, cool. So at this point in the game, Bo is basically a healer. In a sense, well, I guess he's not really... He's the one who knows healing spells, so it's kind of his default job. In the end of the day, Bo's just basically good at everything at this point, so it's kind of weird. Like, if we look at even just his stats, we can see that he has significantly more AP than Ryu, which is basically just MP. He's got more HP, his stats are, with the exception of Vigor and Luck, all of his stats are higher, some of them significantly low, so he is a higher level than Ryu, but only one level should make that big a difference. In fact, basically every enemy in the game, every ally in the game tends to level up faster than Ryu does. And the reason for that is, some allies aren't around for quite as long, obviously, but Ryu, you have him for the entire game, and you're forced to use him for the entire game, whereas other characters are kind of in and out, and you can switch between them, and like they don't gain any experience when they're not actively in your party, so they kind of have to level up a lot quicker to kind of compensate for that. So Ryu tends to level up kind of slowly, but he's always there, so there's that. So I guess now that they're even on level, their stats kind of even out a little bit. They both have the same offense and defense, but Ryu's sword is a little stronger than Bo's bow. But ultimately what it comes down to is... I should actually heal up a little bit. They're about even, but Ryu doesn't really have any magical potency at this point. I'm pretty sure the only spell he knows right now is Time Warp, which switches between day and night, which is pretty handy in some places, but doesn't really help us all that much in battle. Try and finish off these leeches since we can kill them in a single shot. I believe it's called Humpback in the back, is obviously a little bit more threatening, but I would rather decrease the enemy's numbers first. Oh, it's just called a Widow, okay. Right, those little purpley spidery things are called humpbacks. So specials are just what this game calls critical hits, obviously. If you're a little bit low on level, this is actually a really good place, around that healing well is a really good place to gain some levels, because obviously the enemies in this area give a little bit more experience than around hometown. But we shouldn't really need it. So here we have a little bit of a boss fight. Dramatic entrance! So we got the 3 harpies here. So we've got Palo, Pooty, and Peach. I don't think it especially matters which order you go in, but I like to start with the first one. Normally I don't really mess around too much with buffs in this game, but I think I'm going to give it a shot this time around. Because why not? So obviously there's a lot of enemies here, so this is a 3 enemy boss fight, so it can be a little bit imposing if this is your first time around. But it's really not all that hard, especially if you've taken the time to get better equipment and all that stuff. So we shouldn't have any trouble. And a big part of it is just the fact that these guys actually spend a lot of time attacking themselves. The amount of damage they do isn't super amazing, but more to the point, it's any time they spend attacking themselves is obviously time that is not spent attacking me. So I am a fan of that. So now that the buffs are going, we're going to try and focus on a single harpy to take her down as quickly as we can. The defense up really doesn't seem to have done all that much to decrease the incoming damage, unfortunately. I'll try a shot. If I'm totally honest, I'm not 100% sure what shot does. I don't really remember. I believe it's like a... Okay, yeah. It does either 1 damage or a critical damage. So it's one of those type attacks. It's kind of like an all or nothing type thing. So it can pay off big, but I personally am not really a fan. Wow, that last one died really quick. Lots of experience for this boss fight. Well, we're not going to find her if she was eaten by them. So what I'm going to do now is top myself off and return to the healing wall real quick. Okay, all healed up. There's a couple of reasons I decided to go and regenerate my MP. The first is just the fact that I used a big chunk of it getting the defense buffs up, which didn't really seem to do all that much, so I guess that's a bit of a waste. Can I go down here? No, okay. I didn't think so. So yeah, the defense up cost 5 MP, so that was 10 MP wasted on that. The other reason is just because obviously I leveled up from that fight, so leveling up also kind of increased the maximum MP I had anyway, so at this level, the amount of MP from a single level gain can actually be pretty significant for Bow. So regenerating all of that MP can actually give you a little bit of a leg up. It was probably a little unnecessary because there isn't really anything super hard coming up, but I like to be in my best shape anyways. So we knock that boulder off with the little boulder. And all of a sudden, we have a little bit of a shortcut back through the mountain. Or it's not even really a shortcut so much as it opens the way forward. Going back to the well also lets you get a little bit extra experience, which, well, grinding is not really a thing that I should need to worry about in this game. If I have the choice between more experience and less experience, then I might as well go with more experience. Just because you don't have to grind doesn't mean you should neglect collecting experience where you can get it. I'm not gonna go, like, I didn't go out of my way to be like, I'm gonna go back to the well to get more experience, but it seemed like a good idea, and to heal anyways, and more experience is obviously better. Level 9. Wow. So I always get a little confused as to what the actual path is at this point. I don't know why. You would think after doing it so many times I would remember, but... Okay, so there's a drop down there. These little corpse things? I fought one of them on the way back to heal, which is why their health bar is already there for us to see. Wow, did Bo really get to level 9 before Ryu got to level 8? It's kind of crazy. I think he might have actually leveled up twice from that boss fight. I don't think it tells you if that happens. It just says character advanced to level X. So you just have to kind of infer whether that's an increase of 1 or 2. Fire rock, huh? That's an important item. Well, sort of important. Fire rock is an item that lets you cast a high-level spell. And at this point in the game, the spell in question is incredibly strong. So, yeah. Come down here. Okay. I always get kind of confused whether the split of... Because there's like 2 forks there, right? There's the one that leads to the cave with the chest and the hole, and there's the other path that leads to the treasure chest. And for some reason I always think that's the right fork here that leads to the room that is the one with the chest and the hole. I don't know why I make that confusion, but whatever. So these fights are going pretty quick, so I'm not going to bother like editing them out just because the enemies die so fast. It's not really even worth the effort. I say as I fight a group of 5 leeches, which I decide to edit out because 5 leeches takes 3 turns of combat, which is a lot longer than 1. So now we can fall down here. Hello. Azusa, huh? He actually has a name. Maybe he's important. So anyways, this leads back to the entrance, and we can just walk through there now that the path is collapsed. Goblins. Goblins can be pretty annoying enemies, but I don't think these guys are too bad. They don't tend to have... Goblins in general don't tend to have much health. And these guys are no real exception. Our damage is actually quite high at this point, so... killing these guys is not a problem at all. Lots of gold from goblins as well. Or I suppose Zene. So we've got a little broken down house out here. And I think I'll heal up with Ryu. He doesn't have quite as much MP, so I can, at least at this point in the game, I try to use his MP out of battle, just so I can save everyone else's MP for if I need to heal in battle. Of course, at this point it doesn't make all that much sense because Bo actually does more damage than Ryu. Whereas... oh no. Huh. Bo's a level higher, and yet his strength is only 1 up. Interesting. I mean, normally Ryu is basically like the main damage dealer, but Bo actually does pretty good at this point. So here we have a whole ton of cockroaches. And oftentimes what I'll do is I'll just use the fire rock here, because it does a ridiculous amount of damage to all of them. So it's a really good way of getting rid of them all really quickly. It basically ends this fight instantly. This time around, I'm going to try not doing that, though. Obviously, you can see that these guys die pretty quickly anyways. In fact, they're dying much faster than I even expected. But I'm going to try and save the fire rock for later. For a fight that's actually, you know, hard. These guys can do a number just because there's so many of them, but I was expecting these guys to take like 2 or 3 hits to kill each, but just taking 1 hit makes it all the easier. And a giant roach. Don't really have any spells worth using. It doesn't really seem like defense up, at least at this point in the game, isn't worth using. I might try it again at a later time, but... Oh wow, he died quite fast as well. I don't know if I'm just higher level than I normally am, or if I had a disproportionate concept of how hard these guys were. I mean, I always just assumed that they're very easy, but... So I guess old man Nero here is just squatting in the house. Who knows whose house this was at one point. Maybe it was always his house, I don't know. So the pig has a collar. Oh, yeah, right. You can see the pig changing color a little bit. Well, the awkward pause. I don't know why Nero has an exclamation mark. He doesn't know that we're looking for a pig named Suzy. I guess we didn't know we were looking for a pig, but yeah. No. Maybe, Bo. Maybe. But that will not be the last that we see of Nero. Anyways, not gonna bother healing Bo. So with that done, I am just going to head back to hometown. So that was pretty quick. There's this little circus here, as I'm sure you've noticed, and there's some kind of interesting, mildly interesting stuff here, but I'm not gonna bother too much with it at this point. We're gonna have to go there at some point, and it actually costs you money to get in, so I'm not gonna bother quite yet. So, actually, I don't think there's any point in healing up quite yet. Just trying to decide how far exactly I should go before I cut this episode short. Or not necessarily short, but, you know. And apparently Mina's been waiting here all this time. Yes, that's what we did. Back in time? Windia is one of those tropes in, not necessarily a trope, but the Breath of Fire series is kind of weird in that there's certain things that are like recurring throughout the series. One is that the main character is always a blue-haired fellow named Ryu, though, there's always, wow, 500 Zenny. There's always a city named Windia. There's another character that always exists named Nina. Some of these, the fifth Breath of Fire game is an exception to some of these rules, but for the most part, these all tend to be the truth. Why not? Bo up to something suspicious? Apparently, Ryu can see things with his mind when he's asleep. This guy has fancy hair. Kilgore, huh? The magic hood, huh? I mean, Ryu was never really a thief. Unless he did some stealing in his, in the in-between years. So, Bo is mysteriously missing. Now... I think we have to talk to the Elder? No, I guess not. I can never remember how exactly to trigger this next sequence. I think what we have to do... Aha! Hello there. To come up here, and... Aha, here's Kilgore. What are you talking about? I think... I don't think we have to go in here quite yet, but... What are you? So I guess this is the Trout House. This is apparently where Bo was contracted to infiltrate. Oh no, this is Kilgore's house. And that is a bathroom. Okay. So... Can't go in the church. This is the Trout House. Okay, so I guess if there's any doubt as to what's up, then that guy just cleared it all up for us. So I believe what you have to do is after you talk to Kilgore is you have to return to your room. And in so doing, Bo is here. But I think we will see what Bo has to say on the next episode of Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. Catch you later.